Hey everybody, let's talk about the nuclear option for millennial home buyers because the market in Seattle is out of the reach of most millennials and it seems almost insurmountable. And the biggest obstacle is building up that colossal down payment. But we as millennials are fluent in certain tools that we could use. We are good Dave Ramsey kids, paid off our medical bills, we pay off credit cards, pay off cars, go debt free and have an emergency fund and all that. This was a swing for the fences, though. This required that I cash in a Roth IRA, and it required that I take half of my 401k, and basically I bet it all in the stock market, and we grew it significantly to the point that we were able to compete in a colossal housing market. And a year later, we were able to refinance in such a way that we eliminated PMI, private mortgage insurance. Usually, you'd have to save up 20%. $1 million house, 20% is $200,000. I didn't have $200,000 sitting around. But this is what we did. Used Robinhood and got a subscription to the Motley Fool, which is a stock advisor. Now, the Motley Fool isn't designed specifically for this. And there were likely circumstances that were unique to our setting in which we were largely buying stocks that were going to grow because of COVID lockdowns. But it worked for us, and it's possible that it could work for you too. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not certified to give financial advice, but for marketing purposes and just to tell you our story, I know for a fact this worked for us because it grew all of my Roth IRA and half my 401k by a factor of 10 in terms of the equity of my home, which I'm going to turn into. We're going to turn into a basically a franchise. So you build your down payment by cashing in on what you have, using Robinhood, interfacing with Motley Fool, the Motley Fool. Motley Fool's advice is typically that you would have like 30 stocks at a time and you'd hold them for 5 years or more. It's not really designed for fast gains. But that's what we needed because as the housing market was growing and growing and getting out of our reach, we knew that if we didn't cut our lease short then and buy then, that we would never be able to buy here. And I'm really glad that we took the risk. It paid off in our case in a pretty huge way. So, using high conviction stocks within the Motley Fool and timing the market around the circumstances of, in our setting, COVID lockdowns, in your setting, whenever you choose to use this, if you should choose to use it, circumstances will be different. So, for example, some of the stocks that we bought were DPZ, Domino's Pizza. We also bought Shopify. We also bought a lot of Amazon, and Amazon went from a little over 2,000 a share to well over 3,000 a share. And, we basically only bought stocks that were blue chip stocks, only stocks that were going to be grown by the increase in the market through COVID lockdowns. So, put your finger on the pulse of the cultural zeitgeist and consider what's currently happening and take your risks calculatingly and accordingly, remembering that you're using this tool, Robinhood, rather Motley Fool, not necessarily for what it's meant for. Once your Robinhood account gets past $25,000, you're able to make multiple trades within a day of a certain stock. You can buy and sell the same stock multiple times a day on that same day. And you have to watch it like a hawk. We became day traders. And then once we hit the amount that we needed, we got out and we didn't look back. And I know for a fact that Amazon kept going up after that. But once I had enough money to compete in a down payment for a house that had the adequate number of bedrooms for my family, for example, and met my wife's wish list, we got out, we sold, we moved from there. In full disclosure, even then, there were other buyers who were able to offer all cash, and some people were able to come in with 80,000 to 100,000 more than what we could offer. And so I got to give glory to God for the fact that we even got this house to begin with. We did everything that we could as far as it depended upon us, but it also worked, and it could work for you. So this is what I advise. You take your savings, grow your down payment using Robinhood with advice to the Motley Fool, acknowledging the fact that that's not necessarily what the Motley Fool is for. It's a huge risk. If this had gone badly, I'd be working until I'm 90. But it didn't go badly. It went really well. And it's in your hands. It's not gambling. you are watching these stocks, and you are able to withdraw your money as soon as things start to go sideways. You got to have an iron stomach, but man, and you have to have the self-control to get out when the market is good, when you have what you need, when you've saved up what you need. But man, this is the way that millennials can get in on the housing market. As soon as we bought our house, it went up in value some $350,000 or more. So in a year's time, we had accrued equity that was way beyond what we'd even put into the house to begin with. We were able to then refinance and eliminate PMI, private mortgage insurance, and so our payments went down, and it's going to save us six figures over the life of the mortgage, in terms of no more mortgage insurance. So it worked really well for us. It'd be great for you. Hopefully this time next year I'll be able to make another video about what to do with all your equity. If you want to look at houses, if you want to buy a home, reach out to us. Step one is to get a pre-approval and just see where you're at. This could be a gut check, and if that's the case, I've got a couple of clients now who are likewise. I mean, they're young millennials. They want to get on the housing market. They see the state of things, and they acknowledge, like, we're not there yet, and that's okay. Get the pre-approval, and if it tells you you're currently qualified for a cardboard box under an overpass, that's okay, because that's where you're at. That's where you're starting. Don't buy more house than you can afford. Instead, now you know what you need to build up in your down payment. And Robinhood is one of many tools that you could use just to build your down payment to be competitive with cash offers on houses that are way out of our reach. The upside is the risk is more than worth the reward, because our housing market is so robust here. You're likely to see equity come very quickly. Now, heads up, the housing market has grown tremendously because of demand here, but it's possible that prices will dip. If you're going to wait for some sort of foreclosure wave, that's not coming. These buyers are all thoroughly vetted. I had to give like a blood sample and my great aunt's maiden name to get this house. So they know for a fact that the people who are buying these houses can afford them. It's nothing at all like what happened in '08. But I would anticipate a slight dip in prices, followed by more growth, because it's simply based on demand, and the simple laws of economics are at play. And we just know that these are legitimate buyers. They are qualified buyers. They can afford their houses, and the demand is up. After '08, the housing market crash led to a halt on housing construction. Fast forward now, it wasn't until 2017 that we even began in the Seattle area to catch back up in terms of the building of new houses. So the crash of '08 is partially what led to the housing shortage we experienced earlier this year. For that reason, I think that real estate is a sound investment. I think that you're going to get equity in your home. It definitely worked for us. If you do this in the next couple of years, you might see a small drop right after you purchase, but it's going to grow thereafter. If you need any help at all, reach out to us. We're Jessi and Jessi. You can go to jessieandjessi.com, Jesse and Jessi.com, and we're here for you.